Hello all, welcome to Think Automation YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about Qtest, Tosca and other Tricentis product, then this is the right YouTube channel for you. Please hit the subscribe button and share this video to your friends across so that the knowledge will reach to more people like you. Alright, the topic for the day is how to configure DEX or distributed execution in Tosca and how you can trigger the execution using the DEX method configured. Right. w- we'll start with actual topic with some concepts involved. What is mean by dex? Dex is nothing but you are distributing your execution to a third machine or to any virtual machine where the execution will happen in parallel while you are doing some work in your local machine. For example, you are doing some manual execution or other Tosca script development in your local machine where the DEX setup will be executing your existing script, existing regression or smoke test in other machine while you are also doing some other work. So it's a dual benefit. The automation will be happening in real time whenever you are doing other work in your local machines. Right. There are some configuration setup you need to do from local machine, Tosca server machine as well. And in addition to that, you need to do some setup in DEX agent machine as well. Right. And finally, we'll see how you need to trigger the execution, how you can verify the results back in Tosca command. Right. Let's go into the actual demo and see one by one. Now in my local machine, I'm going to do the configuration for the DEX setup. Before doing that, I need to know where is my Tosca server is actually installed. I have already installed my Tosca server under this URL thinkautomation.xyz.com. Please refer my last video where I shown how you can install and configure Tosca server from the scratch. Right. As of now, we'll take this URL and we'll do the configuration from your Tosca commander. So basically what we are trying to do, we have Tricentis Tosca server installed in some virtual machine or somewhere. And we have Tosca commander in our local machine. So we need to somehow connect this Tosca server to our Tosca commander so that the communication can be happen seamlessly between your local machine to Tosca server. Right. To establish a connection to Tosca server from your Tosca commander, you need to do some settings. Go to your project settings from your workspace and where you can see the settings related to your commander. Right. Expand the commander, you will see an option in distributed execution where you see something called monitor URL. Right. So the monitor URL you need to give in this format, Tosca server URL followed by monitor. So you can see the value here. So like this, you need to give the value up to xyz.com. That's the Tosca server URL that I have installed. And then similarly, you need to go to server where you can see the some server value here as well up to the xyz.com. That is my Tosca server URL, and the rest of the URL is static one distributed server manager service.svc. So in this format, you need to give these values. Right. In addition to that, you also have Tricentis services settings where you need to give your Tosca server URL itself. Right. Once you do that, the configuration from your local server is completed now. You can close these settings. Right. And then you can come back to your execution. Right. Here, what you need to do basically to trigger an execution from DEX method, you need to create something called test event under your execution. So previously, what you would have done while creating your test cases, you might have executed in either in Scratchbook. If you are doing the unit testing, you can right click any test case and you can execute in Scratchbook. And other than that, you can pull your test cases to any execution list and you can execute it. Right clicking and running the execution list will trigger the execution in your local machines only. But if you want to trigger in other machines like DEX agent setup and you want to trigger in virtual machine, you need to create something called test event. Right. I'm going to create a test event now. You can see that I'm creating DEX test, something like this. And under this test event, you need to drag and drop your execution list. I'm just dragging and drop my execution list. Once I do that, if you can see that under the test event, the execution list is aligned now. So in addition to that, in your execution folder, you will see something called configuration. This also needs to be tagged to your test event. So this only will give the information about where is your DEX agent or virtual machine hosted, to which virtual machine the execution need to happen. So as of now, I'm gonna drag and drop the any configuration to the DEX my DEX test event. So initially it will be look like this, and you need to rearrange something like execution list should come inside of the configuration. So the hierarchy is test event followed by configuration followed by execution list. So this is how you need to configure your local Tosca commander to create an test event and keep it prepared. Now we have completed the setup from the settings perspective in our local machine and created test event for that. Next, we'll take a look what and all configuration we need to do from the Tosca server machine. Right. Now I'm logged into my Tosca server machine where my Tosca server is actually installed. There are two type of settings you need to do in your Tosca server machine. First thing you need to do in the Tosca commander inside the Tosca server machine, you need to open your Tosca commander and you need to do certain settings. And in addition to that, you also need to do some settings in the Tosca server itself. Right, we'll take a look at the Tosca Commander one inside the Tosca server machine now. In same way, how you configured your local machine, you need to configure the settings. So this Tosca Commander as well needs to communicate it in the backend of Tosca server, right? In same distributed execution settings, monitor URL, we need to make sure that it has proper value, like your Tosca server URL followed by monitor, and in server URL as well, you need to have it in specification format. Tosca server URL followed by static URL, right? And in Tricentis services as well, you need to have valid Tosca server URL. Since I have installed in thinkautomationxyz.com, I have provided the URL, right? In addition to all these three settings, you need to make an additional settings in your Tosca server machine. That is something like if you come into Commander, General, and you will see something called Auto Exclusion, and you will see something called Enabled. This should be turned off. This should not be turned on. This should be turned off. Then only your DEX with AOS setup will be successfully completed. Right. That's all we have from Commander perspective in your Tosca server machine. As a next step, we need to add a project in administration console of your Tosca server. Launch your Tosca server in the browser and just go to the administration console from the home page. Then you need to click on add project and you need to fill up the details. You can give any name here. Select the type of existing repository, whatever the MS SQL or Oracle, whatever repository type you are using existing, just select that and give the valid connection string here. Once you enter the valid information, you can click on save. Now the project is successfully created and added to Tosca administration console. It will be looks like this. Now open your Tosca commander in your Tosca server machine itself and create a new workspace for the AOS. How you need to create that? Select type of repository as TSR, Tricentis server repository, and then log into Tricentis server. Here I'm using the default admin credential, admin to login to create the sample workspace for the AOS. Once you're logged in, the project name will get displayed here automatically. Now you can see that project name, whatever we have created in Tosca server browser under administration console, Think Automation is getting displayed here. I'm gonna choose Think Automation, the workspace name is underscore AOS to differentiate. Right, I'm gonna click on OK now. Now the TSR workspace for the AOS is created successfully. You can see that if you go to project, you will be able to see that it is Tricentis server repository. Now we have created the workspace successfully. You need to close this workspace once it is created, since this workspace will be actively used by DEX and AOS in the backend. So you need to close the workspace once it is created. Next setup you need to perform in Tosca server. You need to come to home page of the Tosca server and you need to click on user administration and you need to generate client ID and secret. So once you are inside of the user administration, you will be able to see what are all users you have logged in, and there will be something called token. Now I have logged in with default user admin, but whatever user you are logged in, you can generate a client ID secret token from there using your login ID itself. So I'm going to click on add new now, and I will be giving some value, name, AOS token, something like that, and I will be able to change the expiration date to any future date, and you can check the access and you can generate token now. Now the client ID and secret is generated. Just copy and make a note of these value. These value will be used in the other settings. Now the last setup in your Tosca server machine is you need to add the AOS settings and you need to add the workspace that we recently created, TSR workspace, in the AOS server settings page. Once you are in home page of the Tosca server, just click on the settings button and then navigate to automation object service from the left hand side panel. And then here you need to add a new workspace for the AOS. How you need to do that? Just click on add new. You already have that option, right? Just click on add new and you have some repository type here where you need to select something as Tricentis server repository and you need to give the project root name. And what is meant by project root name? In your Tosca workspace or repository, once you are logged in, you will see the project root folder. Here it is Think Automation. The same thing you need to copy and give it to your Tosca server settings. I'm going to give us Think Automation. And next thing, what is the workspace name? What is the workspace name that you created just now? The TSR. We have created something called Think Automation underscore AOS. Next, we need to give the client ID and secret. Keep the credential sources local and give the client ID and secret that we have recently generated from the user administration page. Once you give all the values from the repository type to client ID secret, click on save and click on OK. This will restart all the services. Right, now the services are getting restarted successfully. Now, these are all the settings that you need to do from Tosca server machine perspective. The next setting we need to do it in DEX Agent machine where you need to configure the DEX Agent and you need to connect to Tosca server and then we can trigger the execution using DEX. Now I have logged into my DEX Agent machine where I have installed my Tosca and my DEX Agent setup. So what you need to do basically in your DEX agent machine, you can install the full Tosca commander like the regular Tosca commander you can install it, and after that you can come to C program file 86 Tricentis Tosca test shoot. You will see a folder called distributed execution. Just go inside that. There you will be able to see something called Tosca distribution agent. This is the application that you need to bring up. This will be called as DEX agent. And you need to bring up this application, run this application in your virtual machine where you want to set up your DEX agent. I am going to right click this and I will be running this application as an administrator. The moment I run it, it will be something like this in my taskbar where it will be gray icon or white color icon where it will be getting started. Now you need to right click on this configuration part, right click on the tray bar and you will see distribution agent is getting started. Right click on that icon, you will see an option called configure agent. Just click on that. The configuration page will get open something like this for the DEX agent, where what is operating system is there, what is the RAM memory, what is IP address, what is the host name of the machine. All those details will get displayed. If you want, you can change your host name to identify to a better name. So I'm going to give agent one now. And similarly in setup workspace, you no need to give anything. In connect to server, the default value will be HTTP localhost 5007. This needs to be changed to Tosca server URL. Make a note that in previous version of Tosca server and Tosca setup, this address will be slightly different. So basically what you need to do, instead of the localhost 5007, you need to replace the Tosca server address. That what we have is thinkautomation.xyz.com. So I will be replacing the entire string with this. In some cases, in previous version, you will be seeing some additional text like distribution manager service or communication service, something like this, where you can leave the static part as it is. You can just replace the localhost 500 part alone with this, right? And in authenticate agent, also you, instead of localhost the default value, you need to replace with the Tosca server URL, something like this, right? And you can keep it as local. And whatever the client ID secret that we have generated recently in the Tosca server machine, that same client ID secret, you can use it here as well. So once you fill all the client ID secret, all those information, you can just click on save. Now this configuration page is successfully closed. Now if you click on the taskbar now, you'll see in green color icon popping up for the DEX agent, which is meaning that the DEX agent is connected successfully configured, and now it is ready to take the execution to execute from the DEX perspective. Right. Now we have completed configuration from the all the three machines, like in your local machine, in the Tosca server machine, in the DEX agent machine. We also keep one DEX agent up and running now. Now the remaining part, you need to trigger the execution and verify that results are coming back with the help of DEX configuration or not. That's the only remaining part. Right. Now you see that under configuration, you see that any configuration or basically all the three configuration is having number of agents as 0. This is nothing but whatever the DEX agent is getting connected to your Tosca server or repository, the count will get displayed here. Now let's refresh this and verify we have one agent is up and running or not. The moment we refresh, you see that any configuration is getting reflected with one new agent, and that will be agent 1 that we have configured recently. Now I'm in my local machine, so I'm gonna trigger my test event which is previously created. Right, I'll be just right clicking and you will see an option called execute now. I will be running this now. So it is preparing for the distribution execution. In some time it will put in the queue. Execute now is finished. Now the execution will start in the DEX agent in the agent machine that we have configured agent 1. Now I'm just launching Tosca browser, Tosca server in my local browser. And if I go to distributed execution, you'll see new event is getting triggered now. You'll see that the agent is picking from the AOS now. In some time, the execution will get started. Now you see that agent 1 is getting distributed for the execution list and the execution is getting kicked off. In this execution is not happening in my local, the execution is happening in the virtual machine where the DEX agent is getting installed in a separate virtual machine. Now the execution is getting completed. Everything is happened in seamlessly in your other virtual machine where my DEX agent is installed. Now if I go there, if I go to my Tosca commander in my local machine itself, I will be able to see the logs execution result coming back from the AOS server. I'm doing update all in my local Tosca commander now. Now if I go to the attached execution list, I should be able to see the logs. I'm just here in my execution list. If you see that there is a new log with today's date is getting attached, and there is also an archive log. So both are AOS log. You will be able to see with today's log all the execution results came back now. Right, that's how you need to implement DEX setup, and you can see the results back coming from the virtual machine where the logs, where the original test case is getting executed with the help of DEX AOS. Right, that's all for the day I have. So today we have learned how to configure DEX from scratch. What are all configuration you need to do in your local machine, Tosca server machine, and in DEX agent machine as well. And we also successfully triggered an execution and see the results coming back from the DEX setup successfully now. Please hit the subscribe button and like this video so that the content will reach to more people. If you want to learn more about other Tosca features, I have already uploaded a video about Tosca server installation. Please go and refer that. Thank you all.